Thursday, February 15th, and welcome on back to the Damon Bruce Show. I hope you had a lovely Valentine's Day. Good dinner, sweet snuggles, all the love in the world. Go get it. Wow. So we were getting off the air yesterday when the news of Kyle Shanahan making a big decision came on down. Steve Wilks gone. The fall guy, the man left holding the bag after the Super Bowl defeat. I actually think that Steve Wilks might have had a better Super Bowl than Kyle Shanahan in a lot of ways. But look, this is Kyle's show. And he certainly let everyone know that once again with this decision that came down on Wednesday. It is good to have you here on a Thursday. Thank you for joining me. And let's just hop right in because the cheese officially stands alone. Kyle does not have an offensive coordinator. He is his own. He now doesn't have a defensive coordinator. I think he should part ways with his special teams coordinator, probably before anyone else. But that hasn't happened yet. There's no doubt. Look, there's absolutely no doubt this is Kyle's show. I mean, if you are in Kyle is trash, got to go camp, if that's who you are, you need another football team to go root for because this guy isn't going anywhere. As a matter of fact, he's even consolidating power. I mean, this is Kyle's show, and he makes his mind up quickly. When it was time to say goodbye to Trey Lance, he said goodbye to Trey Lance, and he wasted no time moving on from Steve Wilks. So, Wilks, that defense, I really do. I think it outperformed the offense in the Super Bowl. You held Kansas City to 19 points in regulation, for goodness sakes. That's a pretty good operation. It really was. But as Pro Football Talk said, the decision to hire a non-Seattle Cover 3 defensive coordinator to run a Seattle Cover 3 defense kind of weighed on the team this entire year. And Kyle doesn't want to have to come back and think about what his defensive coordinator's doing if things are working optimally. And when he called that timeout in the Super Bowl, when he saw another defensive formation that he didn't like, that was maybe the straw that broke the camel's back. It just wasn't a fit. The defense, it felt like it got worse as the postseason arrived. That's not a really good look. But the honest to God truth is that the 49ers just let go of a defensive coordinator who had a pretty decent year. So this has to be about communication. This has to be about the get along. This has to be about two guys not seeing eye to eye, and it's just not a smooth fit. And I don't want to hear a word about any sort of, blame the black guy. Not a word on that. This has nothing to do with Steve Wilks' race, and I can prove that because not even last week the story going into the Super Bowl was the 49ers have done such an aggressive job hiring minority candidates and getting compensatory picks back for them. The rest of the NFL's angry at the 49ers. So you can't be, the team that is literally benefiting wildly from minority hires getting jobs in other places and racist at the same time. So that's not what's going on here. This is just a matter of fit. And look, there's just zero doubt about it. When Kyle doesn't like something, it's gone. That's the way it works. He is in charge. Full stop. This is his show. We keep on talking about, John Lynch has done a really good job as a general manager. I mean, has he? This is Kyle's show. This is Kyle's show. Always has been and will be for a very, very long time. He rules with an iron fist, and this iron fist landed on Steve Wilks. And now Kyle is officially looking for his third defensive coordinator in as many seasons. Now, look, the churn is never good. It's never good. You want some continuity. Continuity is a major missing ingredient, and for those teams that can afford that ingredient, I think that they have a distinct advantage over the teams that don't. Who's ever coming in has got an awful lot of work to do in terms of just keeping a pretty good thing going. So, I really think that more than anything else, why was Steve Wilks fired? Probably more than anything else, Talanoa Hufanga's injury. Is that what got it done? Because this defense took a step back when Talanoa Hufanga took a step off the field because he was injured for the year. Cheers. There is your sip of the day there. I knew I had to get it in a little bit early because I was up a little bit early, which meant the coffee went on a little bit early, which means the cooling down is happening a little bit earlier on. So we just got to it right away right there, and that was delicious. Going back for a second right there. Niners finished fifth in takeaways with 28. They recorded 22 interceptions. That was tied for first in the NFL. The secondary, Steve Wilks' specialty, did play well throughout an awful lot of the year. It was that defensive line that felt like it let the team down. And given this team's commitment to that defensive line from a draft standpoint, from a salary standpoint, I guess that's where things need to improve instantly. Third in points allowed this season, but the Niners went to ninth in defensive EPA and sprung significant leaks, according to ESPN, during their run in the playoffs. They allowed Green Bay, Detroit, and Kansas City to average 5.1 yards per carry and 149.3 yards per game in the postseason, and that is why Steve Wilks is gone. This team didn't tackle well, they didn't stop the run well, and that is just Steve Wilks being the odd man out and a fit that didn't really fit to the point where they didn't even know where to put Steve Wilks at the beginning of the year. Should he be up in the box? Should he come down to the sideline? Like, it's clear that Kyle doesn't want to talk about his defense. It's clear that Kyle doesn't want to come over there and worry a thing about it. He just wants it taken care of, which you'd think would generate to a little bit more offensive razzle-dazzle than it even did in this postseason, but that's another show. It's another story. Go hire Bill Belichick. I frickin' dare you. If you really just want I don't care who gets credit for winning or losing, I just need to get to and win a Super Bowl, go hire Bill Belichick at twice your salary. Whatever you're making as a head coach, Kyle, give your defensive coordinator twice your salary to get him to come in. Just sit back and listen to everybody joke that you weren't good enough to get it done on your own. Why would you care if all you really care about is finally winning a Lombardi trophy? If Bill Belichick is a bridge too far, then I'm dead serious. If I were the 49ers, I would be on the phone with Bill Belichick and be like, why don't you bring your buddy Nick Saban? Jed York will buy the two of you a mansion. You split it in half. Belichick's on one side. Saban's on the other side. Two of you guys can share peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and just play defense and not worry about recruiting or offense or drafting a quarterback or anything. Like, the two of you guys can just go have mental masturbation sessions over defense, and you just party on defense. Just party. Just have a good time. Probably not going to happen, but a guy can dream, right? Mike Vrabel, Chris Kasurik, Chris Kiffin. There are names out there, and you better get to one of them quickly. Better get to one of them quickly, because the world turns and the coaching carousel never stops spinning, even though everybody seems to be settled in the NFL. And that's, again, that makes this kind of rough on Steve Wilks, right? Where's Steve Wilks going to be coaching next year? Guess that's up to him to figure out. But the 49ers, they've got a couple of big names on the board for a big defensive coordinator open, who's going to have this as the baseline of your tenure. In your first year with the San Francisco 49ers as their new defensive coordinator, all you will be asked to do is to win the Super Bowl. Job wanted. Opening. Vacancy. It ain't easy when you're at the top of the heap, and that is where the 49ers are. Have they reached the summit of the heap? They have not. But we know what the mandate is. The mandate is you better go win the Super Bowl in 2024, because after that, we are starting to talk about a closing championship window, unless Brock Purdy becomes the next guy who is literally... this is, everyone is laughing about any doubt about Brock Purdy from earlier in his career based on who he becomes. Let's see if that happens. But the moving pieces and the finger pointing and the off season that is going to be a little tough at times has officially begun for the 49ers, and the tough choice right out of the rip, obviously already made. Already made. And look, you want to take Kyle's genius card back from him? Fine. You go right ahead. You do that. You want to say he's not who you hoped he was because he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet? That's fine. But let me tell you how this also works. Are you a 49ers fan? Quit bitching about your head coach because he ain't going nowhere. Nowhere. I'm going to say it again, just so everyone understands what this is. Doesn't matter what your feelings are. Doesn't matter how you feel about anything. Doesn't matter what emojis you tweet. He's a trash can. He's a sad crying face. He's a thumbs down. It doesn't matter what hieroglyphics you want to attach to your feeling about Kyle Shanahan. Jed York loves him. He's empowered him to infinity, and he ain't going nowhere. So if you don't like Kyle Shanahan as the head coach of the 49ers, you better buckle up. You're going to have a real bumpy ride. I'm not even saying it's right or wrong. It just is. It is. So there you go. Stop. If you are, I don't care how old you are, if you are complaining that Kyle Shanahan is your head coach, you are an old man shaking your fist at the clouds. Clouds aren't interested in your anger, your position, how you feel. The truth is, and there is more overwhelming evidence that he is good at this than he is bad at this. The only incomplete on Kyle's resume is a Lombardi trophy. And if we fired all head coaches 7 years into their careers without Lombardi trophies, well, there'd be a whole bunch of coaches who never even got an opportunity to win a Lombardi trophy. Kyle's biggest sin is having actually played for two of these things and come away with none of these things as a head coach. That's his biggest sin. It ain't good. No one's happy about it. But it's officially time to grow up and realize he's not going anywhere. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what you do or do not like. It just doesn't matter. And I can tell you right now, if you're a 49er fan, bitch and moan all you want this entire offseason, coin toss, week 1, kickoff, you'll be there. I know you will be. And you know you will be. So bitch and moan all you need to. But we know how this works. We know what's about to happen. And it's going to happen on Kyle Shanahan's watch. Let me thank my man, Ike, who, I don't know what you're doing for lunch this afternoon, but you should definitely do it with my man, Ike. You can order right now if you've downloaded his app and earn your way to eating free sandwiches. If you are in charge of lunch for your office, go ahead and check out Ike's Catering. He can have a box of sandwiches at your office this afternoon, and you're going to have nothing but smiling, happy people eating lunch together. The communal lunch hour. Let's get it back. Let's bring it back, and let's bring it back with little Ike's Catering. Get yourself to Ike's either for your sandwich, a sandwich for your entire office, a lot of delicious sandwiches, anything that you might think of. Believe me, he's already got it on his menu. Get yourself to Ike's. That's my guy. And you already know he's your guy too. So get yourself to Ike's. So, the beauty of all this, we streamline it to make sure we never waste your time. We never drag you through a show full of content that you do not need nor do not want. We are going to, at the end of this show, I'm just going to prepare everyone right now so you can do what you need to do mentally to get through it. But we are going to talk about the absolute tragedy in the horror show that broke out at Kansas City's Super Bowl championship parade yesterday. But that's going to be at the end of the show. And we're going to do it in a nonpartisan way. So don't run away because you think you might hear something that you don't like hearing about until the segment actually happens. But before that, man, the Warriors blew an incredible game out of Steph Curry last night. He had 41 is they blew a lead to the Los Angeles Clippers, who had neither Kawhi for the entire game, nor did they have Paul George for the end of the game because he had fouled out of the game. And that is just one of those, you've won 5 in a row, push it to 6, let everybody know you're serious by taking care of this Clipper team, and they end up getting outscored 44-28 in the fourth quarter for another big blown lead just when everything's starting to go well. Just when everything is starting to go well, the Warriors blow it again. 41 from Steph Curry. Klay Thompson cannot take 9 threes when he hits only one of them, okay? Like, that guy is just, you cannot count on Klay Thompson game in, game out anymore. Like, you can see it early on. Like, he's got it tonight or he doesn't got it tonight. Act accordingly. All I can tell you is that every single time the Warriors lose a game in which Trayce Jackson-Davis gets a coach DNP, I'm going to celebrate it. The Warriors don't deserve to win when Trayce Jackson-Davis gets a coach DNP. That is negligence, that is arrogance, that is a lack of development. It is it's a reason why Jonathan Kuminga took so long to develop, because when it comes to getting any young player into a routine, Steve Kerr and his coaching staff are bad at it. There's just no doubt about it. How does Trayce Jackson-Davis get no run in the first game of a back-to-back? How does that make any sense? I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. Get him out there. Brendan Pajemski gets his minutes. He's a scrapper, too. I really like Pajemski. He was the team's second leading scorer last night. Andrew Wiggins, I can't stand Andrew Wiggins. What a passive player. It's the opposite of a leader, a dog. I'm going to take over. Nothing. I can't stand Andrew Wiggins. If he never played another game for the Golden State Warriors, I think I'd like the Warriors more. I can't stand him. He's awful. Klay Thompson, huge freaking fork sticking out of his back at times, and it's hard to watch. What I wanted was a win last night to tell you about how, that's 6 in a row. They're going to Utah. Take care of business up in Utah. Things are going to get better. Things are going into the break with a little momentum. Let's see if that indeed happens. Warriors, Yaz, tonight. Damn, though. You cannot be wasting 41-point performances from Steph Curry. You don't have that luxury anymore. You got to capitalize and win on those nights. So Warriors blew an incredible game. Did you see the NBA's got some other drama for us here? Detroit Pistons center, got this right off of ESPN.com. Detroit Pistons center Isaiah Stewart was arrested for assault Wednesday after punching Phoenix Suns center Drew Eubanks in the arena hours before the teams even played. Eubanks said before the game that the altercation happened as he was coming into the arena. He said an argument started and they were chest to chest before Stewart threw the punch. Security intervened and Eubanks said that he was fine for the game, though police say he suffered a minor injury. Now, Stewart is, he's a scrappy guy. He got involved in a non-court confrontation with just LeBron a couple of years ago. He got suspended for a couple of games because of that. Kevin Durant says it's unfortunate what happened before the game. It's supposed to be a brotherhood, but I could also understand dudes get into stuff. We try to avoid that in this league. Hopefully we can move on from it. We all support Drew. The only thing I can tell you, Drew Eubanks, today is, boy, do you look like a total pussy. I'm sorry, dude. Who called the cops? Who called the cops? You brought in the cops? The police were on the scene for this? You douchebags. What are you, serious? I mean, good Lord. You better knuckle up and get the scrapple on if somebody does that to you. You don't call the cops. You know, that's just the biggest weak sauce in the world. We called the cops. What? Dude, like that offends me more than any load management there is. What you seriously? You called the cops because somebody got popped in a tunnel? Like none of you would have survived 1982. None of you. That's nuts. That's nuts. A couple of other things before we get to what happened in Kansas City for a little bit. Then we'll hop into Club Plus for a little bit. My friend Carl, very excited about the Oakland Bees, right? The independent team that's going to be playing over in Oakland. Apparently 40 minutes after their official launch in their website, it crashed due to a flood of demand. So there you go. People do want to watch baseball over in the East Bay. They just don't want to give their money to John Fisher anymore, and I don't blame them for that. But I'll say this, Oakland, you have the opportunity to do something incredible here, and you better not blow it. Have you seen that the A's have basically come back to Oakland to talk about extending the lease at the Coliseum because their team vagabond, and they're not going to be moving to Las Vegas anytime soon? Even if that were approved today and even if construction started today, they're not moving to Las Vegas anytime soon. And there's no way construction will begin in the 2024 calendar year because the A's are the biggest group of fuck-ups that have ever pretended to masquerade as sports owners. So they have come back. John Fisher sending in his little errand boy, Dave Cavil, to negotiate an extended lease with the city of Oakland. And Oakland, you have three options here, and you better choose the right one. To me, and I know that Oakland needs the money, the right choice is just beat it. No. I wouldn't negotiate. I wouldn't bring him back. Unless. Full on no. Option number one. That's the option I would love to see the city of Oakland exercise. Probably too poor to do that. Number two, offer the A's a 50-year lease. That's it. You get a 50-year lease, you drop this Vegas nonsense, you figure it out right here, and you stop treating this city like it's a jump off. Okay? Or number three, and maybe this is the most realistic of them all. And I do think that this would absolutely dash Las Vegas too. But listen to this. Give them the lease. Give them the lease at the price they want. But in that lease, you have it in concrete stone writing that the name Athletics and the franchise's history stay in Oakland. You can't take that to Vegas with you. We keep the team history, and so basically Las Vegas, you are getting an expansion franchise with zero history, and if that is what Las Vegas is then getting, why would they want John Fisher to have, if I am Oakland, I am playing the hardest of hardball right here with this team. After everything that this team has done to diminish and embarrass the city of Oakland, including straight up bad faith negotiation and lies throughout the entirety of the Howard Terminal operation. If I were the city of Oakland, I would absolutely, with this process, look to put a bullseye on John Fisher's forehead and just hit it repeatedly. So good luck, Oakland. Good luck. Now, speaking of bullseyes, 22 people injured. 22 people injured in a shooting that ranged between the ages of 8 and 47 years old. Half of the injured were under the age of 16. 11 children were wounded at the Super Bowl parade in Kansas City. One woman is dead. She was a DJ. Very, very sad. The whole thing is tragic. It's a miracle that with so many people wounded and shot, that there aren't more casualties that have resulted in death. Wednesday's parade is the latest sports celebration in the United States to be marred by gun violence following a shooting that injured at least 10 people last year in downtown Denver after the Nuggets NBA championship. Gunfire last year at a parking lot near the Texas Rangers World Series championship parade. And I got to be totally honest with you, neither of those really pinged on my radar because a mass shooting in America is now, it might not even make the news. It might not even make the news. It's so common and it's become so routine. And that's just tragically sad. You know, when Sandy Hook happened, America basically said, you can shoot classrooms of innocent children. We'll do nothing about it. Like that's when we made up our minds on doing anything about this. And the number one reason why we can't do anything about this is because of the Second Amendment. And the only thing that I'm going to tell you is my entire life, I have believed in the Second Amendment. I have believed in responsible gun ownership. I think that anyone who passes appropriate background checks should be able to purchase whatever they want. I mean, I'm dead serious. You can, I don't know why you would, but if you want to bring a bazooka with you anywhere you go, I'm fine with it. It's just, please be responsible with your bazooka. This is for Republicans. This is for Democrats. This is for all Americans. Let's sit down at the table and talk with each other. Let's find a solution. Okay? I'm not touching the Second Amendment. Have all the guns you want. Not coming for a single gun, so there's no reason to complain that that's what I'm trying to do. We have a fork in the road. There are two ways to deal with this. You deal with the guns, or you deal with the people. And if you're saying we can't deal with the guns, I mean, there's no other country in the world that has a problem with guns like we do. And you can draw a straight line to these problems, to the proliferation of guns due to the Second Amendment and all that stuff. But that's non-negotiable. I'll even concede to you it's non-negotiable. Okay. So we cannot drive down the road of changing anything about guns themselves. Then we need to start funding mental health initiatives as if there were a war going on, because there is. I'm not here for your guns. Have all the guns you want. We then need to have the most serious, most funded, like it's an aircraft carrier pivot to mental health that this country has ever seen. Around $280 billion spent on mental health services in 2020. Let's go ahead and bump that to $500 billion right now. Instead of ordering 4 more aircraft carriers for the war that will never be fought on a physical aircraft carrier level again, go ahead and fund first responders, people who are experts on mental health treatment, response, care, facilities. We are in a war with ourselves. And if we cannot touch a gun, if that's the new, just can't do it, even though we probably should and could, if we can't do that, then we have to go down the other road. And the other road is mental health. The other road has to be mental health. Keep your guns. Keep voting MAGA. Keep voting. Keep it all. Keep it all. Keep it all. Be as much of a gun-loving, my family on a Christmas card, cocking rifles, gun nut job as you want to be. You have to then vote for mental health initiatives everywhere else. Because doing nothing is not working. Doing nothing is not working. So fund mental health care like it was your job, because it is, because we have an endemic societal problem. Since 2020, there have been 2,559 documented mass shootings in the United States. That's 2,559 mass shootings in just over 1,500 days. We're at basically 2 mass shootings a day. So many of them that you don't even hear about most of them. What are we doing? What are we doing? What we're not doing is coming for the guns. Done. Keep all your guns. Get together with your buddies in the woods and play militia. You can have all your AR-15s. I don't fucking care. You can take a gun barrel, stick it up your ass, and jerk off. You're so excited about it. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Fund mental care. Fund mental health care like it was the United States military. Because the next big tack on American soil is going to come from a guy leaning out of the MGM Grand and shooting up a concert in Las Vegas. I mean, it's just amazing. This should be a priority for all Democrats, Republicans, all Americans, regardless of political affiliation. We can all agree that our loved ones being shot is probably a bad thing. So if we cannot touch the guns, if that is literally a non-starter, then we have to start in other places, don't we? Can we start in other places? More doctors, more nurses, more mental health, more psychologists, more child psychologists, more boots on the ground of mental health care all over the United States. Millions of brand new mental health workers need to be trained and brought in to work instantly. Have a draft of mental health care workers, whatever we need to do. But it's time to do something. We don't care about anything in America like we do football. And now that football's been threatened by this, maybe that'll cause something to happen. Maybe. But probably not. But probably not. Do something. Do something. Don't touch a single gun. Don't touch a single gun. Everybody can have all the guns that they want. Have a great time. I don't care. Can we do something else then? I'm willing to give you everything you've ever wanted in gun ownership, rights, everything. You can have it all. Have it all. But we got to do something else. I'm giving you everything. Can you give us something? Can that happen? I mean, we've done this how many times? We've done this how many times? It's just gross. Oh, by the way, pitchers and catchers have reported. Nobody gives a shit. And there you go. There's your show today. That should have offended no one, by the way. If you were offended by what you just heard, you are the biggest fucking asshole in the world. So there you go. You're welcome. Sports don't build character. They reveal it. Let's go to the club blues and see what we got. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Get sexy. All right. E. Scott Burns says, as long as you don't talk about the Dubs' complete shit show last night in the fourth quarter. Yeah, well, we did. We did, and we had to, and that's got to get better. Come on, man. Powell just in the corner hitting all those threes in the fourth. Anybody going to do something about that? Klay fouling at the end. Dude, Klay is just, I hate to say this, There are games where everything about him screams, get me off the court. I'm incapable of helping. And last night was one of those games. We got La Profesora in the chat. Very nice. Good to see you as always, La Profesora. I haven't seen her in here, but I'm going to take your word for it. VK says, if we didn't fire him last year, I don't see him firing him this year, sadly. Dude, this guy has brought you to Super Bowls. I mean, what, sadly? Sadly? You think Kyle Shanahan is a bad head coach? I can't help you. I can't help you. The only thing I can urge you to do is keep watching this channel so you can understand what is good and bad. And believe me, it hurts to lose a Super Bowl, but that is not evidence of bad coach. The choice, the overtime, there's plenty to scrutinize, there's plenty to yell at, but this guy keeps on reaching NFC championship games and Super Bowls. Most fans in the NFL would sell their grandmothers for the level of failure that the 49ers have experienced. Trade Debo. Go Juwan Jennings. I'm telling you, I don't know who's going to want Debo. I would have liked to have seen Damon as a kid when he didn't get his way. ABC Patriot. That I was a great kid. I was adorable. I was an awesome kid. Play TJD. It ain't that hard. Yeah, you'd think. I'd get Trace Jackson Davis out there. By the way, I hope I didn't miss any of these. We got Captain Evil Ammo, option 1A for the A's, sell to Joe Lacob. It's sad for Kansas City and America. No more parades, celebrate in a stadium with metal detectors. I mean, isn't that just gross if that's the world that we need to live in? A metal detector world? Otis Bird says, Wiggins is so inconsistent. No, he's not. He's consistently below average every night, based on his skills. Everything you hoped Wiggins would become, he is completely regressed to being the parody of Andrew Wiggins that we have, joked about for years. JJ Rader says, Damon, you should just ask John Dickinson to say that's a problem for your soundboard. I love John Dickinson. One of the hardest working guys I've ever met. Postman in Capitola. Oy, oy, oy! Klay Thompson's like a major league slugger. It's either home run or a strikeout. He leads the league in strikeouts right now. He does, man. He has not been good. The other reason why Wilks was fired is he never developed his younger players like Winters, who can be a star at defensive linebacker. Why wasn't he used? Steve, that is a legitimate question. I will say that when it comes to getting a rookie involved on either side of the ball, the 49ers don't do it spectacularly. They really don't. They do not work in young players very well. It's been, do you think Danny Gray is going to dress for this game on wide receiver? No, I don't. It's just they have trouble getting guys out there. Damon, do you suggest more playing time for Wiseman? True Blue forever. Yeah, get James Wiseman out there. It's funny, you hit someone on the court, you get a foul. Outside the arena, you get arrested. Isn't that something else? What are you doing? How are you calling the cops? How are you calling the cops? I mean, you basically got to tell everyone, if you're involved in that altercation, don't get the cops involved. What else we got going on here in the chat? I feel terrible if I missed a couple of super chats. I saw them out of the corner of my eye, but you all type so much. You make the chat go so quickly. I think I missed them, and I deeply apologize to all of those. Let me see if I can scroll back up here and see if there's no, can't get it. Although I scrolled up here on the app and it says about 200 people and only 50-ish likes. That doesn't compute. All right, get in there. Wild Olive Tree said, A's stay, ownership goes. If we could only fire an owner, we would have fired John Fisher to the moon. Kid Icarus. Maybe boost your offensive line so Kittle can actually, go out in patterns and receive instead of block. That is the priority of this offseason. This offensive line is job A, B, and C. No doubt. Big Mac 8675 says, what the hell does it take for the rest of MLB owners to finally say enough and just want John Fisher out as an owner? He embarrasses himself and all of Major League Baseball time and time again. It is amazing that they got this guy's back. It is amazing that they ceded the fertile ground of Las Vegas to a full-on, proven, time and time again, incompetent, and aren't going to make the money of a relocation fee? I mean, the John Fisher, he's going to ruin both markets. He's ruined Oakland, and he will ruin Las Vegas the minute he gets there. Just trust me. It's amazing how this league defends the indefensible. It's just stunning. John is doing his best to have MLB pay for the lease. I don't know why. Again, why would anybody want to do business with John Fisher? In what direction does John Fisher have to face before he walks well in that direction? Seriously. I mean, I think we're looking at the entire circumference of a circle. At what point, at any degree on this circle, is John Fisher good at anything involving Major League Baseball? I can't see it. I can't find it. What would be the defense? What would be the defense for John Fisher to prove that he deserves another bite at this apple? It's just so gross. The world that we're living in here. Zorn says, what a pipe dream. Politicians have neither the inclination nor wherewithal to do anything effective. And on both sides of the aisle, you seem to be correct about this. I just think that we need to do something other than nothing. And the only thing I can guarantee you will happen is nothing. And again, if the Second Amendment, if this political hot button is too much and it just drives everybody crazy and everybody has to start screaming at each other and I got my guns and from a cold dead hand and all that stuff, keep your guns. That's my opening salvo of our negotiation on guns. Keep all of them. As a matter of fact, buy 3 more. Buy as many guns as your heart desires. Buy them all. Wear them on your belt, put them in your pockets, tuck one behind your ear like a pencil for all I care. Now that I've given you all the guns that you could ever want in your world, can we talk about mental health? Can we talk about, if you are insisting that guns don't kill people, people with guns kill people, well then let's talk about the people. We can't talk about the guns. No other country shoots itself quite like the United States does. Other countries have guns. Australia, full of guns. Canada, full of guns. Mexico, full of guns. All South America, full of guns. There are guns everywhere except for basically like Japan. And that's why there's like one person shot every decade in Japan. It just doesn't happen over there. But we can't use data points from other countries over here. We're just not allowed to do that because of this, thing called the Second Amendment, which the word right there, it says amend. You could tweak that, but we don't want to. We can't do that, even though I think that there is a gross misinterpretation of it happening. And, the most conservative Chief Justice of all time, Warren Burger, agrees with me. It's, I don't see militias out here. You should have to join a militia, but anyways, just forget it. Keep all the guns you want. Buy 4 more. My gun safety initiative is called Buy 5 More Guns and a Bazooka for All I Care. Can we talk about mental health then? Can we take $1 billion and throw it at mental health like it's a war or it's an aircraft carrier or it's a whatever? Just billions. Throw billions of dollars at mental health. Billions. Fund this thing like it was the most important thing to protect America that you could come up with, because it is. We shoot ourselves more than anyone shoots us. Why? It's just it's a matter of doing something other than nothing. Again, you can't say we have a mental health crisis and a gun crisis and do nothing about either. And if you're telling me it is written in stone, we can do nothing about the guns, fine. I'll agree with you even though I don't. Let's do something over here then. There's no reason why we should not be allowed to open carry. Fine. Fine. Put a gun barrel through your nose like a bone for all I care. I don't care. Do it. Do it. You want to tell us how small of a dick you're walking around with by having to carry all those guns? Fine. Let us know. Let us know. My daddy never ever taught me how to throw a punch, so I have to keep this on me. Fine, you pussies. You get everything you want. In my negotiation about guns, you get everything you want. How about that? Is that a good enough starting point for the Marjorie Taylor Greene crowd out there? We're going to give you every fucking thing you want. Here's a bullet. I can have another bullet. Here's another bullet. Here's another bullet. Here's another gun. Here's a bazooka. Drive a tank. I don't fucking care. Fund mental health initiatives like your life depended on it. That's where this solution has to come from then. It has to come from somewhere. Here's Captain Evil Ammo talking about the A's. What I love is that there's someone in here named Captain Evil Ammo, and he's not even here to talk about any guns or shooting. He's like, the frickin' A's and Joe Lacob. Again, libtards have ruined our country. No, people who use the word libtards have done more to ruin the country than any liberal person trying to make it better, right? Liberal just means well-rounded. That's all it means. You have taken a word and you've co-opted it to use to just dump all your poisonous feelings into, and it's ridiculous. Stop talking like a child and be prepared for an adult conversation, which I just set up to have, and you come back with the word libtard. Again, you can't be helped. We need to get people like you out of the problem, out of the discussion. Solve it. Solve the problem. Me addressing mental health crisis makes me just think of the word. It's just gross. Pitchers and catchers, woohoo! Right? Yeah. Yeah, pitchers and catchers. No one really cares. Padraig saying, oh, hey, Damon, how are you? From Ireland. Padraig O'Brien here. Hello, Padraig. It's so good to have you. Knock back a good Guinness for me today. Crush one. Crush a Guinness for me today. Make me happy. Make me proud of you. I love Guinness. This is Mike Antics. Look, I love Klay, but he's not hot from the start. He doesn't have the ability to turn it on anymore. Give me Davis and Santa. Look, that's the thing. I've been saying this all year. Klay Thompson sometimes finds it, but he can't summon it. You know very early on what you're getting from Klay. It's there, and when he misses 4 in a row, he should be pulled out of the game and not returned to it. It's just that simple. Irwin says, Kawakami asked Lacob about buying the A's on his latest pod, and Lacob said he ain't selling. No, dude, there is no way John Fisher is selling the A's because it's the last actual appreciable asset that he has. Because no one wants to own the Gap anymore. Nobody wants. He's got. If not for the A's, he's not a real billionaire anymore. Kiko says, Damon, most of us love Ike's, but what are your thoughts on Jersey Mike's? That's actually my go-to sub spot. I think Jersey Mike's makes a really good sub, but Jersey Mike's makes one really good sub. That Italian kind of grinder with the the oil and vinegar on it, and I think they do a really nice job. All the nice onions, I like it. I like it. But if you're looking for variety, Ike's cannot be topped. And if you're looking for quality ingredients, I don't think Ike's can be topped either. It's really, really good stuff that you get on an Ike sandwich. But yeah, I'm pro sandwich across the board pretty much. There aren't many sandwiches where I go, nah, not interested. Here's, by the way, just another reason why I love Ike, because Ike will go to other restaurants and tell you, man, this is a really good sandwich over here too. You should give them some of your business. Like, the man is not trying to corner a market and deny anyone else entry into the sandwich foray. The guy just loves lunch. He's pro lunch. My wife and kids were at the Garlic Festival during the shooting there. They're still traumatized by it to this day. It's different when it hits close to home. Mike, it must be. It's just so scary and so sad. And again, now that I am a father, I just, the fact that I think like I'm worried about some nut job ever walking into my kids' school, daycare. I can't. It's too much. It's overwhelming, and it's tragic, and it's sad. Got to do something. Can't just do nothing. Skip Bayless says, I'll never like this stream because you ignored my super chat. Again, I don't ignore super chats. I might have missed it, but leave it to you, Skip Bayless, to overreact like a little bitch. It's kind of your brand. Is LeBron a good basketball player? If your answer is no, I don't need your super chat. Oh, here is one. This is from Jedi. Entry into Club Plus. It's a debt. Get the VCRs ready. Please be kind and tree. I'm so impressed. Resets DB in NBA 2K. Not a lot of English in there, but I thank you very much, Jedi, for the super chat. And yeah, I'm in some old versions of NBA 2K. Enjoy. Or you can just hear me talk to you live right here. Sporticus, March Madness can't get here soon enough, dude. My Hoosiers, if they're not in the NCAA tournament, I don't think I can take. I don't think I can take it. Got the Kovacs. I think Wilks gets hired to be the fault guy. Now, look, they hired Steve Wilks because he came in here and said, I'll do what you need me to do. And then it just didn't happen as smoothly as Kyle needed it to happen. I mean, I don't know. It's a little strange. The whole thing's a little strange because you take a big look at the entirety of the season. Walking away saying that Steve Wilks did a bad job is a little bit of an exaggeration. Steve Wilks was not bad, but clearly it did not fit the way that Kyle wanted it to. I don't know why. I don't know the reason, the cause, but we see the result. Somebody had to be the fault guy. I don't know. And apparently, Jedi saying there was a lot of autocorrect taking place there right now. That's okay. Again, thank you. We love you. Appreciate you. And thanks for the support. Oh, by the way, memberships are available, or hit just like and subscribe. That would be a great way to support what you're watching right now. And I thank you. You're going to need to support some independent journalism because I'm looking around at the world of journalism and I ain't impressed, especially in the world of sports. It's bad. It's bad out there. It's nothing more than the lowest available talking points and hanging fruit, and there's no nuance, and there's not a lot of imagination, and there's not enough experience. And, you know, I hate to just say that kid sounds young, but when I turn on the radio here, oh my God, it sounds like a whole bunch of, it sounds like I'm listening to college radio. Because they can't, afford to pay adults that well to do this anymore. Every single adult whose voice you hear on the radio took a pay cut last year. I know that for a fact. G2 the universe. I think people who can't deal with their personal depression want others to feel their pain. This issue needs to be addressed. I think there's something there to that. Absolutely. I still don't know any details here of this mass shooting, other than it clearly wasn't done with an AR-15, or there'd be a lot bigger of a body count. So these were what, handguns or what? I don't know. But I keep on seeing the headline saying that the shooting occurred over a dispute. Well, thanks a lot, Sherlock. Thank you so much. Not a lot of shootings occur over yoga. Of course it occurred during a dispute. So I don't know what happened. I don't need to know what happened. The only thing I need to know is what are we going to do now that this has happened again? And please tell me for once it'll be something other than nothing. Let's do something other than nothing. Corporal Tez says they won't let us address mental health because that would mean shining a light on big pharma, and they pay a lot of money to stay in the shadows. There's some truth to there, but again, I can't worry about solving any or working for any other masters than one thing. So I don't care who gets hurt or who gets stepped on or whose industry gets crapped on. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Do something other than nothing. And again, instead of arguing about the guns and Second Amendment. Have it. Take it. Take it all. Buy 2 more guns. Wear them on your belt. Make gun boots. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care. Have all of it. I'm not taking anything away from you. Let's do something else. Let's do something else. My negotiating point for anyone who's a gun nut is be more of a gun nut. Be the nuttiest gun jobber you can be. You just sit around and kiss your guns and lick your guns and suck on your guns. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. We got to do something about mental health. We have to. It has to happen. And again, I don't want to hear another thing. Don't want to hear another thing about like there is no perfect solution. There is no perfect solution for everything. No problem can be 100% solved. There's always going to be an element of evil and crazy and bad. Again, you're going to cross the street. There's always going to be traffic. Can't pretend no traffic is there, but there's got to be something. Red Jet Shell. Peace. Preach. I'm trying, man. Frisco Pete says if Belichick gets hired, no more boombox. Hey, what's a boombox get you? That boombox had a better game than Debo did in the Super Bowl. Or, if we're being completely honest, Trent Williams. Those 2 guys seem to be the 2 biggest fans of the boombox there is. Again, 420 Savage, the boombox and Debo can go. Isn't that gross? Isn't that gross that that's where we've come? Like Debo, he was supposed to be like the weapon X, and he was a pop gun in the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, go back and watch. The effort's not there. It was just a bad game for him, man. It's a bad game. Guy's always freaking hurt. I don't know who's going to want to ever pick up that tab that they paid him. I think you're stuck with Debo, but it can't be at the expense of Brandon Ayuk because one guy's an athlete, the other's an actual wide receiver. This team needs wide receivers, less athletes, okay? I mean, Debo did not appoint himself well. Again, pitchers and catchers reporting. What does that mean? It means like basically you got a couple of openers, a few dudes who can throw like 2 2/3 and Logan Webb, and a whole bunch of catchers that you're going to platoon. Like that's what that means for the Giants. Would it be crazy if Carroll is our next defensive coach? He was one for 2 years during the Harbaugh era. Yeah, look, if Pete Carroll wants to come to town as a defensive coach, I think he'd be a very good defensive coach. He certainly knows the division. Pete Carroll and Kyle Shanahan. Wonder how that would work together. Rockin' New Air 84. Mr. Pickles is pretty good. Is that a good sandwich? Good. Good. Oh, nothing could be further from the truth. You know how much I agree with you about so many things here, Sporticus. I might have to put you in a timeout here. Never trust a beer that you can see through. Oh, that you can't see. So are you pro or you better be pro Guinness? Guinness is the nectar of the gods when it comes to beers. Someone's like the Muffaletta. I've never been a big fan of the Muffaletta. I'd rather have a PB&J right here. Thank you very much. By the way, Roxy's is damn good. I haven't had that in years. Roxy's is kind of close to me. Their Their prices are through the roof in terms of how much is that sandwich? Like a sandwich and a bag of chips is what, $24? Like I like Roxy's. I don't love it. True Blue forever. Again, I can get behind a pro luncher. Absolutely. Who's anti-lunch? Damon, about those sandwiches and tacos? Nathan Henderson. I pivoted to a taco conversation in a more than awkward way, and I haven't heard the end of it. Out of absolutely nowhere, The Fall Guy with Lee Majors was a solid show. I hope the movie is quality. They're doing a Fall Guy movie? I hope the Niners find another up-and-coming defensive coordinator. No, I don't need any on-the-job training. I need someone experienced in here who can go win a Super Bowl next year. That's what the Niners need. I think, look, Chris Kiffin is a guy that could come back into the room. By Victor 1. It's worse in politics. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but there needs to be something other than nothing going on. There needs to be something other than nothing going on. Gina says, Damon, I've agreed with all you said about the gun issues. I've been a nonpartisan for over 20 years. Vote my conscience, not the way a group of people tell me to vote for. I wish mental health was addressed. That's what needs to happen. Again, I'm willing to meet you on the sanctity of the Second Amendment. I'm not here to take a single gun for you. So can we talk now? Can we talk about the next thing to do then? If we got a road, it forks. We cannot go down this road, then we have to go down this one. It's just that simple. And this should be an issue that it should be the one nonpartisan issue of our time. But again, that's just not how anything works anymore. You know, we have some people trying to have a reasonable conversation about how to make things better. You've got the other side of the crowd insisting that Hillary Clinton is eating babies in the basements of pizza parlors. How do you have a conversation there? How do you have a conversation? So, Damon, boomboxery. Is that what's going here? Stephen Apollo. Kyle's the biggest scheme and needs to go. You saying scam? Is that what you mean here, Steve? Steve, thank you very much for the $2. He's not going anywhere. He's a very good head coach. His sin is he hasn't won a Super Bowl. The 49ers are in the playoffs just about every single year under this guy. The 49ers are in the NFC Championship game under this guy just about every single year. And they've been to 2 of the last 5 Super Bowls. It may be disappointing how they ended, but this is not a bad thing. Go root for the Chicago Bears for a decade and get back to me about how bad Kyle Shanahan is at this. Seriously. Wolfie wants to know, what's wrong with the boombox? Look, the boombox didn't do anything right. As a matter of fact, the boombox might have had the best Super Bowl on the Niners. Alex Marshall with more on the Boombox. The Boombox is made by Bumpbox, who have heavily promoted their products. I had a Snap-on Bumpbox to sell when I worked there. Always felt like Bumpbox just threw money at the Niners, honestly. I don't even, Bumpbox, Boombox, I don't know. Bobo says, Kyle Shanahan is the problem. Genius Kyle couldn't scheme his best players open. Well, that's part of it. I mean, let's not pretend that that didn't happen. So anyway, Texas Niner. Amen. Guinness is so delicious. It's a meal by itself. Absolutely. Again, when you're all done being a level 1 beer drinker, when you get off the bunny slope and you're ready to join the adults who know what they're talking about, you'll find your way to Guinness eventually. But Guinness doesn't trickle down to the kids. Like, if you're ever like, I'll have a Corona, 2 Bud Lights, please. You don't even know what's going on. You're not even in the beer conversation. See, La Profesora. This is why we love each other. Guinness is my go-to, honestly. I love a good stout, even a porter on occasion. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Guinness is great. However, it's an aftertaste, definitely acquired by those who drink it. So here's the thing. If you get that metallic-y aftertaste in your Guinness, you're not getting good Guinness. That means your bar isn't pouring it correctly. How to pour a Guinness. The temperature and terms of which a Guinness is served go greatly into this being an effective or ineffective pint of Guinness. '49ers Ultimate Report. Wow, Damon, I just became friends. I used to play and coach baseball games at Balboa Park. I live right by Balboa Park in Roxy's. I'm telling you, go in there, order a large sandwich from Roxy's with a glass of, with like a Coke and a bag of chips, and tell me what that price is. Last time I went into Roxy's, I said, I don't think I'm coming back to Roxy's. DB, what are your thoughts on Richard Sherman coming in and being a coach? I don't think Richard Sherman wants to coach. I think he realizes that that's a grind. He is great on the air. He's good as a broadcaster, a podcaster, and I don't think Richard Sherman would be interested in that job. Okay, here we go. Yes, big fan of Guinness. Never trust a beer you can see through. If dessert was a beer, it would be a Guinness. Okay, there we go. I knew it. I knew you weren't going to let me down there. Well, kids, I think we got a show in the books here. I think we got a show in the books here. Oh, E. Scott Burns saying Quiznos was an overpriced disaster of a franchise. Quiznos is what happens when you grow too fast. They overexpanded too fast. They lost their ability to crank out a good product. Everyone kind of realized that all at the same time, and that was that. Texas Niner, straight up gun owner here. Mental health is needed. Period. Thank you. Thank you. You would think that just to get the heat off of them, that the NRA And all the Second Amendment gun nuts in the world would be the single most vocal advocates of mental health there could possibly be. But it hasn't worked out that way. It needs to. Larry, you are right about this, man. Mental health, social media, misinformation, it all needs to be addressed together. We are in a cycle of buffoon thinking. Look, misinformation is destroying this country. And it's not going to get it. It's like we were told that the most powerful thing in the world would be information, like when I was a kid. And what do you know? That was right. Again, World War III has already been fought. We have lost dramatically. We have lost World War III. It has already happened. And the fact that you didn't even know that it happened is how convincingly we lost this situation. We have a farm of bots and misinformation who exist only to get us arguing with each other. And as long as we're arguing with each other, we can't talk to each other, and not being able to talk to each other is the fastest way to make sure that this experiment that is democracy dies. A media that you can't trust, politicians who can't work, and information that you can't understand. There are three things that could bring down the country faster than that. I don't know what they are. It's just brutal. So there we go. I think that is the show here. Boombox problem, D batteries. That's all those D batteries. Yeah, there's lots of D batteries there. One more. Kyle is not a big game coach. Purdy bailed him out in both playoff games because of his legs, and the plays called were garbage. You don't know that. You're not an offensive coordinator. You're certainly not a defensive coordinator. You can't tell me who was covered or popped open on any of those plays. The other team is out there playing its dick off too, and sometimes the best laid plans do not work. But I can also tell you, if Kyle was not, if Kyle can't scheme it up, how come he had 1,000 yards from scrimmage everywhere you look? Two wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back, and a quarterback who put up big, gaudy numbers all year long. Just know that when you get to the playoffs, everything starts shrinking. Everything starts shrinking. Options, playbooks, windows, it all starts shrinking. And that's when you need to run the ball, Kyle. Again, he needs a run the ball coach, probably more than anything else. Bobo is right about this, especially when it comes to overtime. Sun Tzu's Art of War, it says, never do what the enemy wants you to do. And genius Kyle did everything Kansas City wanted him to do. He certainly did in that Super Bowl. Travis Kelce will tell you right on his podcast, as soon as he took the ball, he handed an advantage to the Kansas City Chiefs. He was more worried about what would happen after two possessions than either of the first possessions. VK, yeah, well, you let me down, Damon, making me out to be a Kyle hater when I was talking about Farhan. Well, I didn't know. Be more specific. I go through the chats at the end of the show, basically. It can get lost in the sauce of what you're talking about. So, feel free to use a word like, I'm talking about the Giants, or this is about Farhan. Come on, VK. Identify what we're talking about. Steve, see, this is a part of the problem here, Steve. What does mental health have to do with runaway anger? It were easy to pull out a gun in order to make your point. Steve, there is no perfect. I can't find a perfect solution. There is no cradle of nothing will ever bad happen again. But we need to address mental health, and maybe that, if we address mental health, will prevent the person with the runaway anger from running so far away with anger that they're now shooting people. Okay? That's what we need to do here. There is no perfect solution. I cannot put a bubble of safety around the entire world and guarantee you that nothing bad will ever happen, not never. That's not available. So let's start working in a way that makes it happen. Barry Ford, poke that like button. Thank you so very, very much. Great content. Damn. Thank you. Thank you, Texas Niner. G2 the Universe. Great show as always. And I thank you. I thank you very, very much. I appreciate all of you very, very much. I'm very happy that we're able to talk to each other in a way that other channels probably can't happen. And I do see that there are some absolutely bad agents in this chat who have been basically summarily ignored by the chat, which means we know how to talk to each other like adults. And we ignore the people who are coming in here with nothing but bad intentions. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It really does break my heart to let you know that you don't have to go home. You just can't stay here.